Good night, my humans, and welcome to Live with Tamika Truthful Tuesday, keeping it real. So, tonight I have an awesome, phenomenal human with me tonight that's going to share her story. Listen, tonight it's going to be a real heart to heart conversation. We're going to be just talking real talk, real people, real situation, and we're just no holds barred. And so before we get it, because you all know I just get excited. So let's take care of some business and we're going to just get right into it. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for keeping us, guiding us, and protecting us throughout this day. God, as we present this live to you, we ask that you would take full control of it, that whatever is being said, that someone will be strengthened, encouraged, motivated, and blessed to share their story, to find healing, restoration as to what's being said. I pray, oh God, for everyone that will watch it now and later, and I pray that you would touch them in a special way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Listen,
Amen.
listen, my humans. So we are talking tonight about don't judge me until you know my story. And so many of us are guilty of that. I've been guilty of that many, many times. And so after going through some stuff, you learn not to judge until you know what really is going on. And it all comes with maturity. And so this evening, as we get into this conversation, motivational talk, we want to encourage persons that are going through whatever situation it is that one, find your truth. Two, get to a place where you can comfortably share your story. Because listen, it's not easy. You know, you have to get to a place where you can be comfortable enough to share your story without crying, without cussing, without getting upset. And that's not easy. It's not an overnight thing. It's a process, you know. And so tonight, this young lady has gone through some stuff. And only by the grace of God that she is still here in the land of the living. Many persons counted her out. Many persons called her everything else but what she is. Many persons did things to her that was not called for, was not even true, but she is still here today to tell her story, to share her story, to encourage if it's only one person to know that whatever it is that you're going through, don't give up, don't give in, because God has promised you and me that He will continue to be with us and He will never leave us nor forsake you. So if He brings a situation to you, that means you're tough enough to handle it, and you going to get through it. You're going to make it. It's going to be all right. You're going to have some days when you be like, what words you can't even formulate, words that are not in the Bible, because we being real here. We just bust words. I can tell you no lie. Oh, let's go through that moment. But it's about releasing the negative toxins and being able to find healing first with you. That's where it starts from. You have to be able to heal you first. You have to be able to love you all over again. You have to be able to get to the point where you are satisfied with who you are. It ain't easy, I can tell you. It's not. But one day at a time. And so this lovely full lady by the name of Miss Bree, we just call her Bree, and she's going to share her story. Hi, Bree, and welcome to Live with Tamika, keeping it real.
Hi.
Don't mind her calm and all of that. Listen, this young lady, oh goodness, oh my goodness, she's such a sweetie pie. I've known her all her life. Nevertheless, let's get into it, Bree. You know, we're talking tonight about don't judge me until you know my story, and you have gone through some stuff, and just tell us about your experience in this regard, and some of the things that you've gone through, how you dealt with it, and how you want to encourage one or two humans.
So, as you said, I went through a lot. I experienced a lot. Firstly, I'd like to say that the only reason I can come on this platform and comfortably tell my story without shame, without guilt, without any feeling is because I gave my life to God. So that is the strength behind me being able to tell my story. Before I recommitted my life to God, it was just a story. It was like any other drama. And somehow God, in his mysterious ways, used everything that I went through that was meant to break me, that was meant to destroy me, that was meant to literally kill me. He turned it around for his good. So that's how I'm able to tell my story. And one of the things that I believe that God has purposed me to do is to share that story to help someone because you'd be surprised to know how many people go through the same thing, are going through the same
Yeah.
thing, or have experienced the same thing, and they just wrote themselves off. So I am confident that whatever it is that you know about me, that I know about me, that I went through, it doesn't mean I'm being written off. I still have purpose. I still have a plan, and God still has a plan for my life. And I know that it's all of what I went through is to bring me to the expected end that God has for me. So yeah, basically, I've been through relationship problems, I've been through family issues, starting off from the absence of my dad in the home, growing up with divorced parents, a very common thing in our culture. A lot of people refer to it as daddy issues. I've been through molestation. I've been through being lied on. I have lost my job. I have experienced. I feel like if me and Job sit down, we can relate, we can connect because I feel like I went through it all. I feel like every area of my life has been tested. But God,
Mhm.
it started off. I can't believe how early the into the time my life started off. Like I say, from a child, I grew up in a Christian home, both
Mhm.
parents, and then it all took a turn for the worse. Daddy wasn't there no more. I was only me, looking for a support system, looking for love, trying to figure out why would my daddy leave me behind.
Mhm.
Does he love me? Am I pretty enough? Am I smart enough? What is it? Why doesn't he want to be here with me? Not why he want to be here with mommy. Why doesn't he want to be here with me? And that kind of catapulted me into a lot of the things I experienced, looking for love, looking for comfort, looking for a safe place, looking to be a part of, to be around people who have a mom and dad in the home. And that situation, that me wanting to do that, that desire led to me being trusting people, and that led to me being molested. It was just crazy. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you want to touch on? What do you want to talk about first? Can you relate to any of that?
We're having just a little bit of lag with the internet, but
Most traumatic thing that I
you
experienced
touched
was
on some.
being molested as a child. And when you talk about don't judge me, I'll tell you my story. Being molested as a child made me very curious. It made me very grown. It made me want to grow up faster.
Mm.
Is the internet
Okay, it seems as if it's kind of leveled out now. You were talking about being molested caused you to be curious, to grow up faster. How was that experience? What did it on your mind? How did it play on your mind? How did it make you feel? What are some of the things that you actually did?
Um, well, when I was growing up, I think I can call. I was always shapely. I was slim, a little heavy chested, wide, and I started to see these changes in my body from I was about 11.
Okay.
And my mom would always try her best to put us in trusted atmospheres where she trusted the adults, and I trusted the adults. I didn't have a reason. I didn't even know about molestation. I didn't know to look out for this. I didn't even know to look out for these certain things. And I had a family member who took interest in me and approached me with it. And when I was first approached with it was strange to me. I was, at least, I would hear certain things. They tried to verbally approach me with it, and I just brushed it off. It didn't, I brushed it off until one night I was sleeping. One morning, late morning, I was sleeping. Everyone had left the house. As far as they're concerned, I'm back with a trusted adult. I felt this pressure on top of me, and I squinted my eyes to see what was going on, and this person was on top of me. The internet is lagging really bad.
Yeah. Keep
I'm
going.
gonna try.
Um, okay, it seems as if it's kind of stabling out, but go ahead. Go ahead.
1 second.
Okay. Okay. So as soon as we can get her back tonight, guys, we're talking about don't judge me until you know my story. And a lot of times people go through things and you don't understand why they react a certain way, why things um, are a certain way. And so, it's not good to just judge because of, oh, this young person is being rebellious, or this person is doing things that they should not have done. Many times we are guilty of this, not knowing exactly what's going on. And and sometimes it doesn't hurt just to you know pull the person aside and say, hey, this isn't something like what you would do. What's going on? And in many times there are always telltale signs as to what's happening or going on within an individual. And so, as Bree continues to tell her story, she will give us one or two of the things that would cause persons now who would look out, or would cause our red flags. Some of the things that we can look out for. Instead of judging someone, if we realize what the red flags are, we know now how to approach or handle certain situations. Go ahead, Bree.
So yeah, as
So
I
you
was
woke up
saying,
with this pressure on top of you.
I felt this pressure on top of me, and I just thought that I was dreaming. I was about to turn over and get into another position when I realized that someone was physically on top of me. And I just squinted my eyes open a little bit enough to see who it was. And I started to understand what was happening, but I didn't understand what was happening. But I just was so scared that I continued to play asleep. Um, when it was over, I played asleep for a long while before I got up to look and see if anyone else was in the house or and so forth. And I was just really, really scared. I didn't understand. I didn't know who to go to. I didn't know if people would believe me. I didn't know what to do. This was uncharted waters to me. I was a child. I didn't even know how to tell the story. I couldn't even really fully understand what was going on. What was that person seeking to do? And it made me curious. I wanted to know what was happening. And I went on. I reached out to a cousin who was about the same age as me. She was actually in the house at the same time, and I told her what happened, and she thought that was the craziest thing ever. She was like, "You crazy? That didn't happen. That didn't happen." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's what happened." And even though she didn't believe me then, it kind of piqued her curiosity to kind of look out. And eventually she ended up
Mm.
seeing, I guess, something for herself. And for me at that time, like I said, I was shapely. I was just, I had friends and stuff like that. I knew about boys, but I wasn't so much into boys. But the
Okay.
more I understood about what happened to me, it made me curious because in that moment I felt things as well. My body responded in a way that was new to me. So I wanted to know more. I didn't know who to talk to. We had the internet then, but it still couldn't really explain what happened. So this went on for a while because I didn't know who to tell and I didn't know who would believe me. I tried to seek help at one point and it was just brushed over. And one of the things that hurt me why when I think about not being judged is that as this was happening to me and I started to make decisions on my own, I was called fast. As I
Mm.
started to seek, want my own boyfriend or engage in sexual activity or sneak out the house or do anything like that, or, I was just called fast. But no one tried to understand where did this come from. You grew up in a house with a police or a mother. You grew up in this Christian home. What made you want to do this? What made you this curious? No one ever asked. They just scolded me and chastised me
Assumed.
and talked about me and assumed that I just was born fast. And the thing for me, what led me to lose my virginity at a young age was something I wasn't proud of for a long time, was that I felt like if someone can do this to me because they wanted to, I needed to get my
Hmm.
life back in control and I needed to choose who I wanted to give my body to. That wasn't a decision that I think that I could have made at a with the right tools. I didn't have the right tools to make that decision. I didn't understand sex. I didn't understand STDs. I didn't understand soul ties. I didn't understand love. I didn't understand none of these things, but I knew that hey, someone else was doing something to me because they wanted to. This is how I would start my life. I need to make a decision for myself, and I need to grow up. I need to grow up. I need to choose who I want to be with. I don't want to have this experience closed with my eyes closed with someone on top of me who thinks I'm sleeping. And
Yeah.
it made me curious, and it led to me doing certain things like getting involved with boys. Well, it was this one particular boy, and I just wanted to experience everything with this person because that's who I felt close to, that's who I chose.
Hmm.
And that opened up a series of issues, like I said, soul ties, heartbreak, learning pregnancy scares at 14, not knowing what sex could do, and that is one of the things that I when I look at girls now and I see them acting out, I don't say, well, oh, she's sneaking out and she fast. I always think, something is probably going on. When people come to me, I'm like, did you talk to this person? And
Yeah.
even with raising my own daughter, a lot of people ask me to watch my child and they think that, oh, you hold the children so close to your heart. Why don't you let them go to school? I was molested at a safe place where my mommy thought I was safe.
Hmm.
So as far as I'm concerned, everyone is a
You were.
suspect. I don't, if my daughter were to come home and tell me my daddy did something, I'm going to approach my daddy about that because I am not going to assume that she lied. It's like no place. For a long time, I didn't know who to trust, and I'm still learning who to trust as it relates to family members. I don't let my children out of my sight. My daughter just started school for the first time, and I don't even trust children because you just never know. what what is what and who is who. So that was one of the first experiences that I felt like everyone made a judgment on me. And when I said everyone, my family, my friends, the church, my mom, because she didn't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Um, people didn't know, and I didn't tell my mom and like my grandmother until recently, about 2 years ago, what happened. And it's like they're like, I remember telling my Grammy couldn't sleep. My Grammy was calling like, "Were you okay?" And I'm like, "Grammy, that happened
Oh
years ago.
Lord.
I made it. I made it through. I'm here now." She's like, "But I didn't know. Nobody told me." I said,
Oh
Nobody
Lord.
knew." And for a long time, I was angry with the people that I did tell, the person that I did tell, and the people that knew. I was angry because they sat there and they allowed people to call me fast, and they didn't defend
Knowing.
me, knowing what happened. So that was one of the first experiences. It didn't make me feel comfortable then. Um, I am now literally in my walk with God, just feeling not understanding that it wasn't my fault. It
That's
wasn't my
important.
fault because I blame myself. I blame myself. I remember not eating to try and make myself slim so I don't be
Mm-hmm.
attractive.
Mm-hmm.
I would not want to fix my hair. I had this
Mm-hmm.
problem with attraction. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to be
Mm-hmm.
attractive, and I sometimes it's hot and you want to wear short pants, and everybody's saying, "But why are you wearing short pants?" Like,
You're
why
not
can't I
free to
wear short
enjoy
pants?
who you are and who like,
I
oh my
couldn't
God.
enjoy. I couldn't be myself because I always had to think about me being myself. How would it affect this person and how would it affect that person? And it was uncomfortable. So I made a lot of decisions in life not knowing, like, because I was considering other people, what I
Mm-hmm.
wear, you
Mm-hmm.
know, what I do, where I go, how I talk. I'm like, did I say something that made you think that I wanted this for myself?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Mm-hmm.
ask for this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it really has changed the way, and even it went into my, even though at that point I was fast and curious, when it came to a place of me being in long-term relationships and men actually wanting sex from me, I didn't want to have sex. I had this very particular, I had this pet peeve. Not when I say pet peeve, it's a struggle for me. Being married, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, my husband wants to have sex, and I have this thing: do not wake me up out of my sleep because it
Yeah.
scares me,
Yeah.
and it plays with my mind. Don't, like, if I'm dozing off and you don't notice and you touch me, I would pitch. Or
Yeah.
anytime someone randomly, like someone touched me and I'm not prepared for the touch, I pitch
Yeah.
because I've had my experiences of walking in the hallway and just this person hitting my butt or touching me, or and it makes me. So
It
a
bring
lot of
yeah,
times,
it's familiar.
a lot of time, my husband probably may not, maybe he didn't understand why I responded like this, and I'm like, how do I tell you what happened to me without telling you who it is, so you don't look at that person a certain way because we can't talk about this because this is a family secret. And then I also felt like guilty because it's like, what if another girl my age, what if this is happening to someone else?
Mm-hmm.
How do I now warn my other family members that this could happen? And then now to talk about it, it's so hard to talk about it now and to get everybody to understand that it really happened, because
Mm-hmm.
back then it was, they could have seen it if they really was looking. They could see it now if they really looking, but now it's hard to really tell it and help them to understand why I didn't tell them a long time ago.
Yeah. And Bree, that's a lot for a young person to carry because, you know, here it is now, you've already gone through this. You have told a few persons what's going on, and you're not getting the response or the support or or the feedback that you need to help you because you yourself don't understand what's going on. So because of
Mhm.
that now, it plays it plays so heavily on your mind. So all sorts of things now set in. You now, like you said, you try to look less attractive so that persons cannot look at you in a particular way. That alone is a lot to deal with on your brain.
Mhm.
Then some people go through depression, suicidal thoughts, like they just it's just too much pressure. And then you know it'll come to a point now where you are every 2 2s you have to look around wondering if it's somebody that's going to uh do the same thing again. And so it's just so much that you went through and had to deal with. And on top of that, no one believed you, no one was there to comfort you, support you, and walk you through this process. You had to do it alone. But
It isn't even that. It isn't even that no one believes. That's what hurts for is that I told the person that needed to know. I recorded it. I recorded, I recorded the voice. I remember having a little blue. I think back then that was when Motorola was out. I recorded the whole dialogue part of the person trying to, because what actually happened was this person tried to pay me off. They tried to like give me money. They're like, if you don't tell nobody, I would give you, I'd give you this, or they would buy food and always want to treat me to fast food or do this. I'll give you $100. But they thinking like back then it's $100. That was a lot for a child. And then even worse, when I noticed my parents financially struggling, it's like, okay, I might as well just take this money and I'm not saying anything anyway. And I might as well just take this money because no one believes me. I remember one time dropping the money on the floor so that it could raise a question. And I had this whole plan. I
Right.
set the person up so they could think them, and they were confronted on it, and then it went back to normal. So I don't think when you look at, I later on in life, I found myself in a situation being with this older person who presented themselves to me like a father figure and who really was trying to mold me into, I don't know, to me, it honestly felt like prostitution. And
Okay.
when you even look at prostitutes, you don't know how they got the idea to do this for money. So
Mm-hmm.
literally, I was keeping a secret and getting paid to keep the secret.
That's some stuff.
And the money was helpful because it helped. I could have gotten food. I could have slipped it this way. I could have do things. I could have, telling my parents I braid hair for this money or I do this for this money. But really, this was hush money. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that stemmed into my adulthood as well. Like that part of it, like it hurt me that I thought for a long time I thought everybody knew. I thought everybody knew
Okay.
because I told the person in the family who was the motor mouth, but that because it affected them, they didn't
Uh,
talk it. So for a long time, even now, just recently, I told another family member about it, and I was like saying it so casual, and they're like, "Oh, you didn't know?"
mm-hmm.
I thought everybody knew. Even I remember my mom sending me away one time, and I thought she sent me away because she knew. I just thought we weren't going to talk about it. And for a long time, I was angry with my mom because I'm like, my mom wasn't just a police. She was a prosecutor, and she wasn't just a prosecutor. She was a juvenile prosecutor at the time. So she dealt with cases like this. And I'm like, okay, I guess this doesn't, we can't talk about this. We have to protect. But she didn't even know. So there was this gap in our relationship for a long time. Even with my dad, I thought my dad knew. And when I told him about it, he didn't know. So I thought by telling the person, they controlled the narrative and it was a disagreement to not talk about it, but nobody even knew.
Wow. Wow. And that right there in itself, Bree, with your mom in the actual field and not being able to recognize where it home,
Mm-hmm.
it and sometimes the scar and even persons that are going through it and their family member who, let's say, work in social services or police, sad to say, are the persons that are the last to either recognize it or actually accept that it's actually happening. You know, um, so I want to ask the has the person been dealt with, or what sort of closure that you have besides, you just leaving it to God and you allow God to help you with the healing process? What about persons who don't know God? You know, how do you think, or what way that they can actually get through the process? Because you find that somebody messing with somebody, and then, you know, their way of retaliating is just acting out. But, you know, how do they deal with it? Or what would you suggest? Or, like, what are some of the red flags? Like, if you see a person acting out, now you said you started to say some things, but I mean, like, oh my goodness, it's just so much.
It's a lot. But like that one thing alone, like that people, with sharing my story, that one situation alone, that could cover, that could go on for I don't know how long, because no, the person has not been dealt with. It's not been confronted. It's not out there. Um, I just started to. The reason I was able to talk about it is because I recognized signs in other persons close to me. I had family members close to me that I started to see the same signs in, and that's when I had to say, "Hey, is this going on?" Or I came out bluntly, and I'm like, "I know, I recognize this."
I
I got
try
my
really,
healing.
really, I mean to cut you off.
That's
I try
right.
to get I try to get my mind around the fact that this person has not been dealt with and is now still doing it or have done it to other people. Like,
That's my biggest fear. That's what I don't know. I don't know the answer. I don't know the answer to that. To be honest, I asked when I told my mom, I asked her to leave it alone. Because I wasn't prepared to deal with it. I asked persons in my adulthood, because I shared it with them in my adulthood. See, if I was a child, I had to forgive the persons who knew when I was a child, because it wasn't my call to tell them not to do anything. As an adult, I ask people to respect my wishes and allow me, because I'm still praying on it. I still don't know the route to take. I would have confided in some persons to avoid it. Neither they take it or they don't. But for me, the thing about it is we don't choose who we get to forgive, and that's something I struggle with. I
yeah,
have to, in this walk with God, I have to forgive everybody,
yeah,
everybody, even the
yeah.
person who did it. Now, because they have not reached the place where I am in my spiritual work, and they have not repented. See, it's their story to tell.
Yeah.
It's my story to tell, but that's something that they may want to repent about. They could do it between them and God, but I will know when they repent. I will know in the way that they interact with me, because the interaction now is still very awkward.
You still see them, they interact, they come.
It's family.
I don't
Hmm.
care.
Hmm.
Okay, okay.
Interaction. The interaction is still awkward for me. It's still difficult for me, but God gave me the strength to get through it.
Listen, listen.
It's
We,
hard. See that this wasn't your
I
walk, then. This wasn't
and
this
I
wasn't your
know.
walk.
No, no.
Yeah.
Because listen, when I say I have three girls, Bree, I have three girls.
Hmm.
Bree, they know my head ain't good. I just tell them,
Hmm.
I don't care who it is. Anybody
Hmm.
touch you any kind of way, you come to your mother. You tell your mother
Hmm.
and you leave it at that. Because I will call the police myself and tell the police I gonna need you to meet me here because somebody gonna dead.
I actually went through
God's
that.
still working on me, Brie.
I actually went through I actually went through that. I went through that. I am like that. I am like that because I have my daughter. I have my daughter that I gave birth to. She's only one. And I have my adopted daughter. She's 13. And to bring her into a situation where I was dating, I remember dating my husband now. And I sat her down, because he would be around us. And I said, listen to me. If he does anything to make you uncomfortable, don't think that I love him too much that I wouldn't defend you. So I am, I have made her comfortable enough to know that I don't care who it is. See, when you're with me, anybody around that comes into contact with you from being with me, if they make you uncomfortable, you let mommy know. With my youngest daughter, when I say I'm the type of parent I would fight children for my children. That's how I felt. Like I was like, I don't care if you want to. I would push down the 3-year-old for pushing down my baby. So I'm very sensitive. Yeah, I'm very sensitive when it comes, because one of the things that I aim to do is to let my children know that I don't care who it is, I got you. I
Yes.
will go up against
Yes.
anybody. Because I feel like it's my job to protect you. But one of the things that I have to do
Yes.
is make them comfortable enough to tell me, because I know my mommy. I
That's
know
it.
my mommy would have stripped. My mommy, if my mommy had known what was going on, she wasn't going in as woman sergeant. She was in that would my mommy is one of the most classiest person I know. I don't know what it is. It seems like me getting ratchet. And I know if she had known then what was happening, and even telling her I had to beg my mommy, I had to beg her, mommy, let me deal with it. Let me deal with it. I'm adult now. Let me deal with it. Let me choose how I can heal. Because I know my mommy probably wouldn't have been on the force that long. Because she would forget
Mhm.
our protocols. So
Mhm.
one of the things that I aim to do with my children is to make sure that they can talk to me. And I'm not just saying that with my children. I make myself available to my little cousins who like little sisters to me. Any child, and it isn't just girls. A lot of times we feel like only girls go through this,
This is
or only
true.
girls can be molested, and only adults can molest. Only adults can molest children. No, children can molest children.
That's the
So
reality
you
with the
literally
world
have
we
to,
live in today.
you don't just have to protect your children from adults. You have to protect your children from children too. And that's something that we don't that we overlook. We think like we can let children play with each other, and and if you have children who are exposed to different things and they're curious because
Exactly.
see, the Bible says,
Exactly.
train up a child in the way that they should go. Children already know how not to go. We have to teach them how to do it right. So
Mhm.
that I see that topic now, because I'm learning a lot in regards to that. I'm learning a lot in regards to each side, being the parent when it's happening, being the
Mhm.
guardian that was told, that was entrusted. Because
Mhm.
my thing now is, if someone entrusts me with this information that they're being molested, what do I do? Do I keep it a
I,
secret and make them keep it a secret too? And I've been in that shoe. I've been in that shoe where someone entrusted me and I kept it a secret.
mm,
And I shouldn't have done that. And now it's hard for me to even go back, and because they're living with it differently. They
ah,
living with it, and they in the same position I am. They're an adult now, and they chose to live with it. But when they came to me as a child to tell me
mhm,
what was happening, I didn't help them. I didn't. I
mm,
just I taught them how to cope, like how I cope. And
yeah.
so and right now that relationship, that was someone that I had like a little sister to me, and that relationship was broken. I couldn't understand why you lost respect for me, why you lost love for me, and I realized that, hey, she came to me for help,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
did to her what someone else did to me.
Yes. See,
So
but you
it's a
didn't know
learning
if you
process.
if that's it. That's it right there. That's it. You know,
It's a learning
um,
process.
and a lot of times we fail to simply because if we're not used to something, we tend to not fully understand, or even our approach or our response would be sometimes out of just simply not knowing or understanding. So in a way, you can't fully take responsibility or blame for it.
Mhm.
But the thing is, you've gone through it, you've learned from it. Now you can change the narrative. Now you
Mhm.
can recognize the signs. Now you know how to approach somebody if you realize they're acting outside of character. Whether you know them or not, you can always tell the signs. And so
Mhm.
it, you will know now what to say, how to say, and kind of gauge and kind of stare them. And because you have gone through it, you are more relatable to them. You can talk them quicker than I can out of suicide, depression, out of just don't care and just go out there. and get what I could get. I don't care. And if I get something, I've given it to any and everybody because nobody had mercy on me. Nobody cared for me. So I can, as I get it, I can give it. You see what I'm saying?
And one of the most important, one of the things that I want to do in my sharing, and it's like it's so much I want to do based on what I went through, and that's why I find myself pouring so much into the books that I'm writing because it's so much, it's so much telltale to notice when a child is being molested or a child is in an uncomfortable situation. It's so much you could watch a child go from being, if you know your child is a happy child and you
Mm-hmm.
notice them being sad and awkward,
Quiet and
that's a
reserved.
sign.
And
If you notice your child is, if you know your child is normally respectful, and you notice
mm-hmm.
there's a particular person that they're rude to,
Pay
that's a
attention.
sign. And it might not just be molested. It could be that this person is beating them or
Mm-hmm.
saying something harmful to them. But
Yes, yes.
you have to watch the interaction. If your child is, see, you have to watch something too. Your child could not want to go around someone, and your child could also want to go around someone because you have some girls who fall in love with these persons. So when you
Ooh,
notice that
that's
your child
dangerous
is even
right
interested
there.
in desiring to want to be a certain place, you got to watch out for that too. So
Yeah.
it's two sides because even see for me, my thing was that I still wanted to go there because I didn't have a comfortable situation home. I didn't want to be where daddy wasn't. And one of the closest person to me, the person in my age group, they were there. So I didn't go there with the knowledge and hope that this would happen to me again. I went there hoping that it wouldn't. But then I also went there hoping that it wouldn't. But if it didn't, I would gain something from it. I would be able to buy something. I'd be able to contribute. Like 'cause I knew I had to keep a secret, and I know that hush money was coming. So it's so much. So it's like people, you have to pick up. You have to have your eyes open and not your eyes and ears open because it's so much ways that you can change. You start to even like with liking, like coming on to going on to boys, like when you notice your child just on your, like even now with social media, you notice your child in that phone, get that phone and check that phone. Because even if they're not engaging with that person, they're telling someone what's happening. Oh, I just come from this place and this person do when so you even watch their relationships with their age group
Mm-hmm.
because that one person who in their age bracket, that's who they trust. And
Yeah.
children don't know what to do when other children come with them with information like that. So
Exactly.
it's so much to look for. When I say it's so much, and I think that that's a big part of our culture. Like, don't just call children fast or understand that they're still children. Grace them as children and grace them as adults too. Because when you were
Mm-hmm.
taught something, just because I'm an adult doesn't mean that I know that it's wrong or that I understand it. So understand, like you have to understand why a person is the way they are instead of just judging them and coming down on them. And an adult is a certain type of adult because the way they were raised as a child.
Yes.
It's still a little bit of
Yeah.
child that lives in us as we grow, especially when you don't deal with certain things head on. And
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
secrets just destroy. There's nothing good about secrets. The truth will set you free. No secret is worth keeping. No
That's
secret.
right. That's
So
right.
it doesn't matter what it is. And the most powerful tool that someone has over you is to know your secret. So I was always afraid of the story being flipped on me. I was always afraid of him telling people that I was the fast one, that I was, and I was like, I need to tell this story before, because if it comes out, if someone walks in on one of those awkward conversations, it's going to be flipped around that I was the one that was doing it. And
Yeah.
that wouldn't have been the truth. So I had to jump ahead of
Exactly.
it.
And a lot of us battle with even that, not only um in that particular sense, but in so many other things as well. You go through some things and you realize that, mother said, if I tell my story now, I didn't experience it, but if I tell my story, because of who I'm telling my story about, people will be like, no, not that person. That ain't the type of person who
It
would do
was
something
you.
like that. So instantly they judge and they'd be like, no, that person ain't gonna do that. All the while you'd be like, and sometimes you be second guessing yourself, like, did it really happen to me? Like maybe it's just me. And so,
Mm-hmm.
like they just say, it's three sides of a story. my side, your side, and the truth. At the end of the day, when you experience something and you sincerely tell your side of the truth, the whole truth,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing but the truth, however anybody reacts, it's on them. Whether they take it negatively, whether they get offended, whether they catch feelings, that's their business. You're telling, and this is something I had to learn and I had to deal with because I've been through some stuff and listen for a long time. I did not share my story. One, my people don't ask questions. They just fight first and then ask questions later. And so just to hold peace, you know, I kept that. I
Yeah.
said nothing. And then it plays on your mind, you know, even though you, because who knows me knows that I'm a happy-go-lucky person. And as much as I try to keep up that persona, sometimes people can look at you and see that something is going on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And well, what's going on? Oh, you nothing everything good. Yeah, say you in a fight to just try and stay sane. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Then when you start to share your story bits and pieces, they be like, not that person, not that good decent person. Yeah, that same
Mm-hmm.
good decent person. And so
And
a lot. Go ahead.
the thing about it is that's the thing too, knowing who to tell. Because one of my fears was the consequences for this person. And as a child, I still had this innocence in me where I wanted them to know what they were doing was wrong, and I wanted them to face consequences. But I didn't want nobody to die. And see, like for example, my dad just grins about everything. A gunman could be in his face with a gun, and he just go, that's it. He just be grin. But I had uncles who, if they knew what was going on, that would have been it. That would have been it. I like that. Really would have been it. And I didn't want my uncles to end up in problems trying to defend me.
Yeah.
So it's hard as a child. That's why you have to be careful how you present yourself to the children in your life, because I knew then I couldn't afford for my mommy. I knew my mommy loved me enough. I couldn't afford for my mommy to lose her job because she would have lost it. She would have lost it. I couldn't afford for my uncle who was taking care of me when my daddy ain't checking. I couldn't afford for him to for him to not be in a position to be there for me because he don't care. He just wasn't gonna care. That just would have been it. So I would have
Over.
ended up like, I think I was afraid of how other people would take it too. Because even in telling my Grammy, telling her, and my Grammy like 77, I told my Grammy, I think she was about 78. And I felt so bad. I was start praying. I said, God, please don't let my Grammy have a heart attack. Please don't let me, because she was like calling, like, were you okay? And I'm like, Grammy, that happened 6 years ago. That happened 7 years ago. And she said, hey, notice that person been around and you were so rude. And I didn't understand why you was rude to them. And I'm like, yeah, Grammy, I don't really like when they talk to me. And, I didn't want her to take that on. So
Yeah.
it's so many different reasons why people don't reach out for help. So don't judge someone and be like, oh, well, why we didn't reach out for help then?
Hmm.
I couldn't afford to put everyone else's life on the line. That's how I took on that responsibility. And that's why I want to be the type of a person to my children where, yeah, you can come to me and yeah, mommy can want to lose a screw. But I
Hmm.
always want God to guide me in the way that I deal with things
Yes.
so that I don't, because my child telling me something could very well be the thing that put me in a majesty's prison, because I might lose it too. But and that's why I asked God to grace me, because I was that person. Like my sister could tell you I was that person. I'm the person in the family you don't tell nothing to, because I feel like I gotta confront everything. And that's one of the
That's
reasons
my
why
sisters.
when the person come to me, the person that came to me to tell me about what was happening to them, I was like, you really don't want me to get in this, because this could be a problem if I get in it. And I'm the type of person, don't tell Bree. My mommy, don't tell Bree, don't call Bree, don't call Bree. Because I just showing up and I just don't care. But I had to learn, like having children helped me to learn that there are consequences to your actions. So no, yeah, mommy want to show up and show out for you. Mommy, yeah, mommy want to break the place up. But if mommy show up and break the place up, mommy going to jail.
Yeah.
And mommy ain't gonna be there to take care of you. So you gotta, it's hard, it's hard, it's hard. But
It is.
God, that's a virtue you gotta get from God. That
Yeah.
forgiveness and that love and that wisdom, you gotta get from God. But the most important thing is to get that child help. I wish I had help. I wish I had someone to talk me through, and someone to tell me it's not my fault, and someone to tell me I'm not fast, and someone to tell me it wasn't the pants that I had on that cost me. It was that person's mental illness that caused them to do
Yeah.
that to me. Like you have to let sometimes you because I blame myself. I
Mhm.
remember laying on my chest, literally laying on my chest as a young girl like this, saying, I don't want breasts, I don't want breasts, I don't want breasts because
Mhm.
I didn't want to be attractive.
Mhm.
So
Wow.
it was like you have to learn to understand that what people do, oftentimes the demons they fight don't have nothing to do with you.
Exactly. Exactly.
And when you understand that you grace people differently, because while it may seem like a personal attack on you, that they fighting a demon that they probably don't even know about.
Listen, listen. And it takes a lot for some people to actually understand that, accept it, and then apply it. Because as humans, you tend to feed on, you hate me, you hate me, and you hate me deeply. Like, how am I supposed to get out of this? How am I supposed to respond to you? How am I supposed to still look you in your eye and act like nothing happened? How am I supposed to, in spite of what you've done to me, still love you and let God deal with you? How?
Oh, oh,
How? And so, even for me, I am learning, and people now tend to, um, like from before I was calm, passive. You could have tell me anything, bring out a boy still crying. You talk to me any kind of how, and I break down crying. I get sad and depressed. You try that now. You
mhm.
try that now. And
That's
so
the thing. The thing is, like, oh, you said that. I am the opposite. I was the person when you tell me it's about that we pop it off. My favorite line, I used to call my sister and say, "You with me or you against me?" Because I gurn, and I used to put on my lotion and my tennis and we gurn. My sister saved me. My sister saved me from plenty jail cells, and I probably was gonna cause her leave her children behind because I'm like, "You with me or you against me?" And now the struggle for me is when stuff happen, I just be so mad, I just cry. I just be so mad. Like I just want to fight back. People, I found myself in a situation the other day where I was being cursed out and stuff like that. And I wanted to fight back so bad. And I'm like, God, it's a test. And I was crying and they was teasing me. Oh, you crying? You crying? And I'm like, y'all, I'm not crying. I'm not crying because I scared, I cried because I went to hop in my car and drive over y'all. Like that's
mhm,
why I cry. Like I cry because I'm mad and I
yeah,
try in my heart to walk with God. That's why I'm crying. So it was like people don't like it could be the reverse. So I think that like I say, like I'm walking with God and reading scriptures and understanding what He requires of you. One of the most important things, one of the hardest
yeah,
things for me, and people don't understand. I'm a very forgiving person now, and people don't understand how I do it. But I realize that, and this could contradict something that people believe. God don't have favorites. He loves each and every one the same. And the same way that God can console me and help me to be different than what I was, because I wasn't always the victim. There's some stories I was the villain in, and that's something we often feel is because we're good people, we aren't, we're never the villain. We're always the
mhm,
victim. But the enemy works through people the same way that God can, the same way. So if you don't commit your ways to God, then the enemy is going to take a hold of that. And we have different things to be fighting. So a lot of things, a lot of what I've been doing is learning that, hey, if this person curse you out, that don't have nothing to do with you. That ain't personal. That's the enemy.
yeah,
If this person molests you, that don't have nothing to do with you. That's the enemy. If this person cheat on you, that don't have nothing to do with you. That's the enemy. And when you understand why the enemy attacks, because you purpose, because you destined to be great, because you go in places. See these things. If you live in a life where nothing happening, where ain't nothing happening, then
something
at
wrong.
that point I would be concerned because that means ain't nothing great in store. So if you constantly find yourself going,
Yeah,
I measure my success by the pain of what I went through. I know I could be great. I know my future could be bright because I went through too much.
can I
I went
tell
through
you?
too much. So I feel as though recognizing that the enemy has to assume a vessel too. To get to you and to get to you in your flesh, the enemy has to assume a vessel. Sometimes that vessel could be your mommy, sometimes that vessel could be your daddy, sometimes your vessel could be your sister. Don't
Mhm,
never see it as the person.
yes,
Don't never see
yeah,
it as the person because somewhere if Like people don't realize that God can go if like I said, that very same person that hurt you can be the very same person that God uses to bless you. People are like, even now, how I forgive people. Some people hurt me so bad, but today when I say thick as thieves, because I forgave them. And
Hmm.
as simple as me telling people, hey, I realized that what you did didn't have nothing to do with you, you still a
Yeah.
good person. That love that I show people, that
Yeah.
has worked out in my favor in so many situations. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard. How do you forgive someone who did this to you? But
Hmm.
I forgive them. And the forgiveness
Yeah.
isn't for them, the forgiveness for me. Because
Yes.
that bitterness,
Yeah.
that bitterness and that anger, that's consuming, and that's a heavy weight to walk around with daily. To
It,
to
it,
wake
it
up and
is.
remember you have to be mad at 20 people. That
Yeah.
that ain't easy.
It certainly is not, by no means. And the thing about it, Bree, sometimes when we forgive, it doesn't mean that in some cases that we can be cordial again. Sometimes you got to forgive and completely let go, and that is something that I had to learn. Some people I had to just completely let go. No love lost, no nothing. It's just that we have now gotten to the place where you can continue on smartly, and so can I. And if we see each other, hi, yeah, sincerely, genuinely, how you doing? Okay, but I'm not going out of my way to go and look for you and check up. No, 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 no. No. I forgave you, and it was an instance where someone was doing wrong to me, and up to now, they can't even admit that they were at fault.
Mhm.
Many times I made myself available, and just out of curiosity to see if they would actually apologize or recognize. Never did. And so I had to let it go. I say, okay, God, that one on you. You got to deal with that. You got to help me, because in my mind, like, I didn't do nothing to you, babe. But you ain't man and you ain't woman enough to come to me and apologize. But here it is. I am apologizing to you, you know? And so a lot of times, sometimes we just have to be the bigger person, apologize, leave it to God, and keep it moving, you know? And
In
that's what
response,
it is.
in response to that in particular is something that I am going through right now. And the thing about it is, with that could go so funny. It's so important to stay connected to the Holy Spirit, because
Yeah.
there are seasons, there are seasons and people in your life where you have to forgive them and leave them to God and
And
let it
let
go.
them go. Yeah.
But there may come a time, let me say it like that. There may come a time where that very person that you set this boundary with,
Uh-huh.
God may put it on you to break that boundary. And let me tell you why. Forgiveness is something that, if you truly forgive, for you wouldn't even look for the apology. Me,
I had to learn that.
I've reached a place where I just forgive and I tell myself sorry for you. Because sometimes you really want to know what you do, people. What did I do to deserve this from you? And I struggle with this. And my sister watching, I know she laughing, because me and her had a very complicated relationship. And I used to tell her I forgive her. And I used to say, but you know what? I have to set boundaries with you, because I have to set boundaries. You have to stay in this corner. And she would constantly say, that makes no sense. And that doesn't make sense. And it wasn't until, and I had a paragraph onto why I have to keep this boundary with you.
Of
I forgive
course.
you and
Of
everything
course.
good. These sisters is only to us, but you have to stay over there. And I have to stay over here. And we could try to cross paths as less as we could. And when I became a Christian, when I started to walk with God, my sister would challenge me. Like she would
Mm-hmm.
challenge me with this Christianity thing, like you're walking with God now. So I popping up to your house and let me see you pretend like you can't hear me outside. And God literally spoke to me and was like, when did I forgive you? When I forgave you, did I tell you I'm not gonna bless you with this anymore? Did I
Uh-huh.
did I have boundaries with you?
Mm-hmm.
And true forgiveness is knowing who and when. See, you just have to know who when. It's timing for everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm at a place in my life. I had some people close to me. They didn't I felt like they did me something. I didn't do them anything. They think I did them something, but I didn't even do it. And I forgave them, and they didn't. And they felt I apologized to them. I forgave them, and they felt like, leave us alone. We don't want to be bothered. And that was hard
Mm-hmm.
for me. Who doesn't want an apology? I apologized for something I didn't even do,
That's something
and
else.
that's what y'all wanted. And they still want to be left alone. And guess what? I have to leave that alone because that is where they are. My prayer is that God speaks to their spirit so that they can understand what true forgiveness is. Because at the end of the day, if we forgive someone, if we see that person hungry, we should be able to feed them.
Yeah.
We shouldn't walk
Yeah.
into see if you have to walk into a room and one person have you feeling hostile, like you could hear everybody, hey, 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 good
Mm-hmm.
afternoon
Mm-hmm.
to you too. You haven't
Yeah.
reached the ultimate place of
Yeah.
forgiveness
And I
because
ain't reached there with
that means you
everybody yet.
still
I'm working on it.
holding. You still
Mm-hmm.
holding on. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing to be in progress. It's not a bad thing to be trying to get there. Oftentimes what gets you to that place of full forgiveness is when you get the apology that you know you deserve. So when people don't apologize, that has you in that place of, okay, y'all ain't
No.
apologize, but I forgive y'all. So this is where we can stay for a while. And
Mm-hmm.
then when they do come back, and they will come back,
Oh
believe it or
yeah.
not, they will come back, and
Yeah.
the truth will come out. It's something about that saying, what happens in the dark always comes to light. That is registered
Yeah.
with me. You will be vindicated. They
Yeah.
will come back. But you just have to leave that alone. Don't allow that one situation to hinder you as an
Yeah.
individual. Because why? If someone comes to you and talks about that person, you know that you forgive them, but you're waiting on an apology because we need that as humans. We need that. We
Yeah.
need to hear, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. We
Yeah.
don't have, while we aim to be Christ-like, we don't have it
Mm-hmm.
all down pat.
No.
So
No.
what I do is, for example, if like with my family members, I have an issue with, people would intentionally come to me to gossip about them. Or that's what they do. And man, sometimes just want to engage in the gossip, but then I turn
You
around
gotta
and
be
say,
careful.
oh, that's what happened to them. I praying for that situation. I don't want that to happen for them. You still have to desire good. So like
Yeah.
when I was saying with my sister, my sister's relationship helped me because while I was setting boundaries with her, because I felt like I had to set boundaries. But when I forgave her wholly, and she apologized to me, and we both understood. Now it's like, okay, I don't have to have boundaries with you. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now I can see your intentions play. Now you recognize what you did, and now you're aiming not
Yeah.
to do that again.
Yeah.
See, because it may be that she'll constantly offend me, but now that I let her know what it is that offends me, she aims not to do that again.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now we have reached a place of ultimate forgiveness because it's like, okay, I forgive you. You apologize. You forgive me. I apologize. And now we aim not to do the same things to each other again
Mhm.
that offend each other. So
Yeah.
boundaries
Yeah.
gone out the window. I don't have to wonder with my sister. I don't have to, if she calling me, not answer anything like that. And guess what? This is the most content. I used to think that I could survive without her. I could survive without my big sister. I thought that, hey, I didn't need you. Having my big sister in my life and being and fully forgiving her, it's things that I only can talk to her about. It's something that I only can talk to her about. And she has my sister has, see, I may be at a certain place with God. So I know she has my back. She's one of them people. If I feel like I need you, I won't handle the situation. But since you ain't where I is, you handle it.
Yeah.
She'll tell you what for me. I'll sit in the corner and pray, but she'll be the one. You mess with my sister. This is what you do. So I realized that love and that forgiveness, that gave me peace. It gave me more peace than having to hold boundaries, having to keep boundaries in place. So I
She just said
encourage
she's
everybody
naughty.
to try and get to that. I encourage, yeah, see, my sister's my scapegoat. She could say it like, oh, I can't say it now until she gets to where I am. So, like, I realized that was beneficial to me, and now I understand what she was saying about having your sister in your life and having your blood sister and so forth. Now I realized that she was right. I don't like to admit it, but she was right. I needed my big sister. She does love me. I do love her. It was a void not having her there. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I hope for everybody to get to that ultimate place of forgiveness where
Yeah.
we don't have boundaries. Because God doesn't have boundaries. If God were to tell me because of what I did, He wasn't going to do this for me. Because, for example, if God were to tell you because you slept with someone's husband, He ain't going to bless you with your own, you would have a problem with that. You would have a problem with that. So I aim to reach that ultimate place of forgiveness with each individual relationship. It don't come easy. I
No,
struggle with it. I struggle with it with individual people,
it's a
but
process. It's a
I
process.
know that I don't limit it, because one thing I learned, that God will make you go back on your word to fulfill His, and His word is to reach. His word encourages us to reach that ultimate place of forgiveness and love. So I don't get ahead of myself and say if that person called me, I ain't gonna never answer them again. Because guess what? If God told me to answer them, I gotta answer them. I gotta do it. If they come to me
Mhm.
hungry as a Christian, I gotta
Yeah.
feed them.
Yeah.
So you can't even
That's right.
we set boundaries, and boundaries are for certain seasons, but don't never stand on your word. Don't think that your word is the yay and amen. Because God tells us to love our enemies, He tells us to bless our enemies, He tells us to pray for our enemies. So you can't say you ain't gonna never. That's a
And
bold
on
statement to say. That's
and
bold,
on
because
top of
God will
that,
make you go back on your word.
exactly. And on top of that, he says, vengeance is mine. So you don't go take
Mm-hmm.
nothing in your own hands and then believe that because you're going to take it in your hands, God will still. No, it don't work like that. As a
Mm-hmm.
Christian, you
Mm-hmm.
got to present it to God and leave it to God and let Him do what He can. Don't nobody can fix it and work it out like how God can. And that's something that I had to learn as well,
Still
because
learning. You still learning.
I still learning it. Bree,
Because
I still learning it.
as some situations come up, it brings you all the way back to square one. Sometimes I have to teach myself forgiveness all over again, because sometimes I feel like, okay, this situation, I can forgive you for stealing the candy, but now you steal my $1,000. This requires a little bit more prayer. This requires a little bit more talking to God. This a bit much. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And each situation, like, I don't feel bad. I tell people don't feel bad, because with me being a Christian, people just feel that they can't come to me and be themselves. Sometimes some of my friends be like, "Can I curse? Can I tell you how I really feel?" Of course, tell me how you really feel, because that's how I would have feel. I would have feel like the same way. I'm still human.
Thank you.
I am still
Thank
human.
you.
Just because you see me smiling in my enemy face, didn't mean I want to. I bother with that. As simple as saying good afternoon to some people, I bother with that. I have to coach myself to say good afternoon. I have to coach myself to let my light shine. I have to coach myself sometimes when I'm about to walk into a
Despite
place and I know
all.
some people doing some things. I'm like, God, help me say good afternoon. I don't want to say good afternoon. Help me not to step on this person's foot. Help me not to step on this person's foot. Help me not. Sometimes I see people on the road. I be like, God, help me not to turn this car and hit theirs, because I could replace this car. Like literally, you feel it. You
It's
struggle with
true.
each individual situation. So that's why I tell people with Christianity, it's a constant struggle. Continue to
Yeah.
struggle with it, fight with it. Once
Yeah.
you try to fight that flesh within you by calling on the Spirit of God,
Yeah.
then God appreciates that. We ain't gonna never get it 100% right. I could write a
Listen.
book on forgiveness. I could write a book on forgiveness and struggle with forgiveness the next day, because a situation may happen that may be harder for me to forgive than the one that I wrote the book on.
It's always a test. It's
It's
always
always
a
a test.
process you got to go through to overcome. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like you said, the key thing is just being able to identify. And one, we are humans before anything else. That's just the
Mm-hmm.
reality of it. I was human before I get saved, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes even in as saved and sanctified as I am, sometimes reality is I got bust a word at you and I got ask God to forgive me. I can
Mm-hmm.
tell you how I feel, whether you like it or not, and sometimes it can come out not how you expect it to come out. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's still a process that I have to go through. You
It's a
know,
journey. It's a
it
journey.
is. And listen, I just tell people, sweetie, I could be real with you. Yes, I save and I love God, but I could be real. This is how I feel. This is what it is. God working on me with it. I can't
Mm-hmm.
pretend that everything is okay. Now sometimes I try to, but deep down, it's just not. you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes you just gotta let it go because so many people wear masks and they're not really identifying and they're not even accepting, embracing, acknowledging what's really happening. You see
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Because oh, I have an image to keep up with. I don't need these people to know what's going on behind me. I don't need to that. That's too much white man, you know.
Mm-hmm. It's really.
And so don't judge me until you hear my story. Listen, my darlings, I thank you guys so much for tuning in. Oh my goodness. And this topic is just so broad, and we can just go on for hours and hours and hours and hours. And some things we haven't even touched on yet,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But Bree, as we are wrapping up, I just want you to just share a word of encouragement for we ain't here for the saved people. They saved. We ain't here for them.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
we here for the people that don't know God, that are going through situations, and they would like to know how in the world I can deal with this, get through this, focus on this, survive. Many times, they would be like, if I close my eyes, maybe it'll go away. If I kill myself, maybe it'll be better. Nobody would miss me. For those persons who don't know God and are going through these situations, you know, what encouragement you would, and it goes for even the saved and unsaved. It goes for everybody, you
Everyone.
know.
Um, my encouragement would be the Bible says to seek God first, and everything you need will be added. Oftentimes, people feel like that's just tangible things. We feel if we seek God, we get the car, we get the house, we get this. If you seek God first, if you put God first, if you stay in God, everything that you need will be added. So
Everything.
that peace that you need, that understanding that you need, that
Hmm.
strength that you need, that clarity that you need, the power, the ability to forgive that you need, the ability to love that you need, all of that comes from your relationship with God. Um, Life was it didn't turn it was meant to be the way it is. It was meant to be the way it is, but we have our choices. We have choices, and other people have choices that affect our choices, that affect our lives.
Yeah.
God has a good his plans for us are always good. So my thing to be with people facing things that they feel like they can't bounce back from is that you could bounce back from anything.
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 Anything. If it didn't kill, see I know what it is to want to kill myself, but if it didn't kill you, you don't you if it didn't kill you, then if you made somehow, if you might have made it out bruised, you might have made it out scarred, you might have made it out crying, you might have made it out limping. But if you made it out, it's purpose in that pain. It's purpose in whatever it was that you went through. So whether you were molested, whether you were abused, whether you were laid off your job, whether you went through a divorce, it don't matter how, there's purpose in that pain. Whatever it is that you went through, there's purpose in it. You don't take it upon yourself. Don't give up the fight now. Stay in the
No.
ring. Don't walk out. If the bell ain't ring yet, don't walk out of it. But what you need to do, what you have to do, the only person that's able to turn a bad situation into a good situation is God. It
Yeah.
sounds cliche, it sounds crazy, but that is the only person. And invite God into whatever it is and in whatever virtue it is that you need.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just peace. Sometimes it's just strength. See, everybody think that we see God for tangible things. The intangible gifts are
That's
the
it.
best. It's
Hmm.
nothing like walking. It's nothing like walking through a storm and not getting wet. The intangible
Woo,
gifts are the
my
best.
God.
That's the best. I could do without the house. I could do without the car. If God could give me contentment and not having those things, I could deal with that. I
My,
have the power to do that. So my thing for people is whatever it is, seek. When I say you would be surprised, and it's already in you. If you here watching this right now, it's already in you because if you made it through it and you didn't even realize. You are here and you didn't even realize. You don't even know the power that you have. So
exactly.
your story, you may not understand why you went through it, but it's necessary. It's necessary to bring somebody else, to help somebody else, to save
That's
somebody else
it.
from jumping off the bridge. So embrace whatever it is and you tell your story. You don't let nobody beat you. Own your story. Anybody, see, someone fought me on Facebook that day. Anybody could judge you, you know. They could judge you. They could judge you for
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. If you find yourself in, they have that right. But their judgment don't
Uh-huh.
matter. People opinion is bother you, you know. It bothers you, but it doesn't matter. Their opinion doesn't matter. It only matters what God thinks about you. And you were created in his image and his likeness. So that means he like you, he love you. They don't have to like what you have to say. Once you walking with God and you saying the truth, he love what you gotta say. He is proud of you. People may
Exactly.
be watching this right now. They ain't gonna like the fact that I shared that I was molested from a family member because someone trying to figure out who it is. Someone
Yeah.
called the next person. You thinking we really had to go say that? That
Mm-hmm.
ain't my
Yeah.
business. I don't know
Exactly.
what young girl listening to this who see me sitting here today, married with 2 children, when I thought that I would have had to kill myself because I was dirty, I
Mm-hmm.
was unclean, or
Yes.
whatever,
Yes.
because I lost my virginity at a young age that no man would love me. Someone needs to know that
Oh,
God's still
Jesus Christ.
able. Nothing. It don't matter how far you go. I can't stress this. It
Oh.
don't matter how far you go. Woo. Once you call on God, He will come and He will pull you in, and He will put and exactly where you need to go, exactly what you need to be. Every part of the journey is necessary. Every part of your story. Don't keep nothing in. Don't keep nothing in. It don't take away the shame. Take
Yeah.
away the shame from it. See, don't give nobody the power. Anybody who know your secrets, they have the power to destroy you.
That's
So don't
it.
let it. So ain't none of my friends, old friends, nothing, because your friends today could be an enemy tomorrow. Ain't none of them have nothing on me. I will tell you exactly how it is. So it doesn't matter. Just know that there's purpose in whatever pain. If you're crawling now, crawl till you could walk again. Crawl
That's
till you could
all.
walk again, and walk till you could run again. But if you
Mm-hmm.
call on God, you see God. These things are a joke. When I pray and I tell the enemy, what next? What you want to do next? Would stand it because I got this. I got this. I got
You understand?
when you don't know what the answer is, and prayer is key. When you don't know that all I gotta do is open. I don't have to be in a church. I could be sitting at my front room table. I could be laying in my bed, and all I gotta do is say, God, come
Thanks.
see about this. Holy Spirit,
I gonna need
who's
you.
my helper? I need help. I gonna need you to come check on this for me. See, when you
Thanks.
realize the power that you have, when I pray, see, because I know the enemy ain't gonna stop. I say, enemy, go mess with a family relationship. I say, if you want to mess with my health, go mess with that because I know that even if you mess with my health, you can't kill me. I tell the enemy, you mess with my husband and children today, leave that alone. Go pick up something else because this I ain't in for you in this today. I know you ain't gonna stop, but I just go bother with something else, and that's the place I reach because I know it's a constant battle. And when you see things happening to you, let that be a measure of how bright your future is. If
Yes.
you feel like if you feel like you're going through hell, that means you belong in heaven. If you feel like you lost it all, that means you're about to gain it all. Whatever it's whatever the enemy does, God does the opposite of. So whatever bad, God have it for your good. So that's just my
Right.
encouragement to anybody. Don't write yourself off because God didn't write you off. It don't matter who
I
on Facebook, it don't matter what family member, it don't matter what friend, it don't matter what boss, it don't matter what boyfriend, it don't matter what husband, it don't matter who write you off. God didn't write you off, and He has the final say. It don't matter who judge you, who ain't gonna understand.
That's right.
If 10 people watching this live and 2 people were blessed, God rejoices for the one. So
Yes.
don't give up, don't get discouraged, and stay in the fight. God is your coach. Stay in the fight.
That's right. That's right, honey. And that's just what it is. Because guess what? At the end of the day, only what you and the relationship with you and God has will carry you through. Nobody else can carry you through. And that's why I love Psalm 91. He that dwelleth in listen. And that's so
Mm-hmm.
important. You gotta know the word. So when you know the word, you know
Mm-hmm.
how to fight. You know how to strategically pray. You see what I'm saying? You know how to prepare yourself.
That's your
Listen,
weapon. That's your weapon. My saying is a physical fight call for physical weapons, but a spiritual fight call for spiritual weapons. So my Bible app. My script, they my weapons. I mean every and people are saying that the Bible
Yes,
doesn't cover it all. Anything that you ever experienced, the Bible have a scripture for that. God already gave us everything that we
yes,
needed to win.
exactly.
We already when I say we are victorious, we already win. So prayer and your and the word of God, because God word don't lie. Don't expect nothing from no one. God word don't lie.
It does.
But you sick, God say you heal. You feel like you broke, God say you rich. God word, that's the one thing heaven and earth can pass away. That's the one thing that can stand forever. That's your weapon. So get in a lot of see watching this live and sharing these little quotes on Facebook is one thing. Get into the word of God. Get to know him for yourself. Get to know him for yourself. And trust me, I can't. Y'all just gotta. Y'all gotta try it now. Y'all gotta try it and tell me how it goes. Because I tried them and I can tell you that God saved me. He kept me. I was supposed to been dead. I done been Sunderland. I was supposed to been everything but what I am today. I wasn't supposed to be a wife. I wasn't supposed to be a mother, but I'm here today. And y'all ain't seen nothing yet. Y'all ain't seen nothing yet. I ain't seen nothing yet. I'm amazed daily. And I know to expect good things because that's what God promised me.
You're right about it.
Mhm.
Man, look at the devil trying to just mess with
Yeah.
it. That
The
devil.
devil mad, the devil mad, the devil mad. That's fine though. That ain't having to do that.
No, not a thing. The word has already gone out. That's fine,
Mm-hmm.
fine. But in any event, my darling, I want to thank you for sharing a bit of your story. I want to encourage you to continue to share your story because, you know, you don't know who's depending on you to survive, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I was truly blessed tonight. I was encouraged and I pray that if it's only one human that was listening in tonight, that something was said that would hit home and they would just say, okay, if they serving this God and this God is going to help them through it, maybe I need to find out who this God is. Or
Mm-hmm.
even if they don't want to find out who God is, find you and say, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I heard your story on what you were saying, and this is what I'm dealing with. Can you help me? Or what advice can you give me? Or even just to say,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to tell somebody about it who would believe me and do something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so as we go through these days and these weeks and years and months and moments, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be able to be planting seeds of positivity, planting
Mm-hmm.
seeds of listen, because when it's time for the harvest, you want to be able to look at somebody or somebody can come to you and say, thank you. And you be like, thank you. Your story changed my life. Your story saved my life. Your story caused me to get saved. Your story caused me to have hope. You know, that kind of way. And guess what? I don't know if it has happened with you, Bree. Anytime I'm having a moment or I'm at a lowest point, is when God have me to call somebody and minister to them or encourage them. And I'd be like, "Hey, you having a moment? You want me to call somebody and just encourage them?" And so that's just what it's all about.
The enemy doesn't take any days off. And people, I tell people I'm transparent with my walk, and it's not because I arrived anywhere. I'm transparent while I going through. So I don't have a problem I don't have a problem going on Facebook Live and saying, hey, guess what, guys, this morning I don't have no food for my children because I know the type of God I serve. Because by the end of that day, I got food. See, then that's why I share my story as I walk through it. I didn't
Yeah.
reach there yet, and I know that it will never end. A lot of times when people see you become a Christian, they think the attack stops. They think it's perfect, it's all
Mhm.
good. It isn't all good. It doesn't stop, and that's why you have to be transparent with your struggle so people could understand that hey, I may be going through this, but God
Mhm.
still walks with me. God still talks with me.
Yes.
I don't have to
Yes.
keep on going up to the altar every time I backslide or every time because that's not what it's about. So I tell people what it is. I just tell people what it is. I tell people I don't know what the future holds. I don't know what could come, but whatever it is, I know what the promises of God are. So I don't have a problem standing here today and telling y'all I don't have this and I don't
Mhm.
have that because I know God say I will not lack. So if I don't have something, it means I don't
Exactly.
need it. And whatever I need, He can provide. So that's how that's what this journey is for me. Just being transparent as I go through, as I figure my way through, as I figure out the answer. As soon as I get the answer, I hop on and I let somebody else know. And it's always that when I'm going through something, someone else needs that answer too. So I know
That's
that
right.
God is working, and that's why even with my books, it's so much. I feel like I have so much books to write because it's just so much. It's so much different situations. It's so much
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
situations to apply the word of God to.
Mhm. Mhm. This is true. This is true. And that's just what it is. Thank you, my darling, once again. Thank you to everyone that tuned in and that stuck it out with us for this hour and 26 minutes. Like, oh my God, you know? And our prayer is that something that was said tonight was a blessing to you. And thank you. I just want to special shout out for tonight's sponsor, um, which is Rosebud Global Empire. That company specializes in document editing, um, and then Summit. Hold on, I gotta get my eyes. Summit VA Solutions, which is a virtual assistant. Um, they offer virtual assistants, and whatever you think of, they can do. So shout out to you tonight, and thank you for your sponsor. We appreciate it. And thank you for everyone that's always tuned in to our top fans. Listen, anybody who knows me knows me. I'm not one to look at no numbers. I'm not one to see how much views and likes I get. My job is to share the story. And so if one person watched the live tonight and was blessed, my job was complete. And I am that much satisfied. And so tonight, thanks again. Appreciate you all. Tune in next week, Tuesday, same time, same place. And we back at it again. And stuff. Thank you, my darling. God bless you and keep you, and may He continue to give you strength, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as you continue to go through your journey.
Thank you.
Awesome sauce. Good night, everyone. See you next Tuesday on Live
Good
with
night,
Tamika,
everybody.
y'all. Oh, I almost forgot. Live with Tamika will be participating in a network over cocktails, which will be held on May 30th. So details will be followed. We'll post the flyer. Support y'all. Support, 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 support. Support to be supported. I can't say that enough. All right, I didn't plug in everybody. So thanks again, my darlings. Love you all. Pat, 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 pat on the right side of my body. That's the right side of my left, your right, that one. Take care. God bless you and keep you as always is my prayer in Jesus' name.
All right.